Yetta, I just feel so busy.
Well, yeah, the real question, though, is are you productive on the right stuff?
Ooh, good question.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
Yeah, so we're excited that we get to come alongside you and have created for you free access to over 587 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, growing wealth, and really how to make the most out of your space even. And so what we are most enthused about is you can get access to them from home, from the office, or on the go, both podcast and video.
Cool.
Like, how cool is that? What we're going to explore in this segment is if my emotional well-being is in good shape, then I'm going to be more productive. So how can I get it in good shape so I can be more productive?
It's a great question.
Well, it is. And so that's what we're going to explore.
And I think environment trumps willpower.
Almost all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Set up your environment. I've been reading an incredible book 4 times now, 5 times now, because
you're a layered learner.
I'm a layered learner and I can implement only so much. And I find for something like that, I don't necessarily want to be 1,000% or 100%. That's the most you can actually be focused at any one moment. And so what I tend to do is be doing a habitual task that doesn't really require much thought. Listen to the book, keep a notebook next to me so I can write notes. And so about it. And so I'm maybe not moving as quickly as I would, but I get my brain space gets to have some variety when it needs it, focus when it needs it. So that's a little bit what we're talking about, busy versus productive. Mm-hmm. Even like I find that highly productive. Now for you, the strategies we share around productivity may not be the same ones that work for us. So this is like always where you get to pick and choose which ones you want to try on. Mm-hmm. Test them.
Yeah. And for me, I find in our industry, we don't really have closing hours. We do, but they're pretty late and they're open pretty early. We're kind of like retail hours. But for most people who work a 9 to 5, it's how do I shut it down, or do I shut it down? Like maybe you're working from home and you say, well, you know, after dinner, I sneak into the office and I check my emails and stuff. And maybe that's good and maybe that's bad, because how does it affect your family life, your emotional life, your well-being and your vitality? Because if you say, hey, it really helps because the next day I don't have as much on my plate and I can focus on creativity and stuff because there are a pile of emails piled up. But maybe it's really affecting your productivity and you'd be way better off to book a half an hour in the day to catch up your emails.
Yeah, that could be incredibly helpful. So having an environment, you said environment's more important than willpower. Mm-hmm. And then we slid right over that. And I'm going to pull that on back because what Ken's really saying here is a simple environment that isn't overly distracting. Right? Mm-hmm. The book that I've been reading is called Hyperfocus, actually by somebody that went to Carleton University in Ottawa, lives in Kingston. Very, very cool. Chris Bailey, I believe is the name. And what he talks about is that the average person can focus with zero distraction, like their mind doesn't think about a conversation they had yesterday or doesn't think about the green grass that's outside their window. I mean, those are little distractions and yet they're distractions.
Or the snow that's piling up.
Right.
It's snowing.
Right. And so the average person can be undistracted, totally 100% focused for the average of 40 seconds.
What?
In a
40 seconds?
40 seconds. And a person that's not so great at focusing, on average, they're going to stay focused about 29 seconds. And a person that is super amazing at focus, like you're the 29. The person that's super skilled at staying focused can go for a total of, on average, 75 seconds without having another thought that is somewhat distracting. Like, have you ever gone into a room to get something and then not knowing why you're there?
All the time.
Right. That's highly distracted. because you can't even hold the thought from the time you walk out of the room. So that's not overly productive. And so it's how do we...
But I know how to fix it.
How do you fix it? Go back into the room. I go back
to the room where I had the thought and it comes back to me.
Right. Not so productive unless you're looking for exercise. And in that case, I suppose it's productive. And so we're looking for what are those strategies we can use that help us when we're working from home, because it's different than working in an office. There's way more to throw us off, right? Mm-hmm. Like the laundry. I have to shut the laundry room door. Like simple little things like
Don't walk by that. You'll see the laundry in the basket that needs cleaning.
Right. So simple things about creating the environment to serve us rather than us serving the environment.
Yeah, I think keeping your office space clean and tidy and organized increases your productivity and makes you feel better, because when it's too cluttered, the mind gets cluttered.
Well, and that's an interesting fact, because if you're trying to create, you might want not clutter per se, but you might want some stimulus in the room to open up creativity.
Oh, so it depends what kind of on stimulus? Like, are you talking like soft music, jazz music, or instrumental music?
Well, they do have there is a whole theory about what type of music helps with productivity.
Should I have a fireplace crackling on my screen?
That could be white noise that's good for you, that's not overly distracting. So if you're going to do deep focus work, what Chris talks about is having things that are simple in your environment, not overly complicated. Mm-hmm. And if you're doing a creativity session, you might want a few books out. You might want a little extra. You can even use the word clutter out and about, because it will tweak things and open up creativity. So depending on what type of work you're doing, you actually want to shift up your environment.
Right. And I think one of the things for productivity is turn off the notifications. Right?
Oh, huge. Like if your inbox is cluttered, getting rid of emails. I mean, if you haven't read the book, I'd actually encourage you to. It's that good. And this isn't a segment really focused on the book, other than I'm shocked at how often it's coming to me now that I've learned these little nuances. So feeling busy, getting stuff done, if it's the wrong stuff, isn't so highly productive. So always for us, we keep our top 3 things in front of us. Well, always. We lose track once in a while. But keeping our 1 to 3 big rocks or the things that are most essential for today in front of us on a whiteboard is highly productive. And the neat thing is when you work from home, you can create the environment that suits you. You don't have to succumb to the environment somebody else creates for you.
Yeah. And I say, don't be busy, be productive. Thanks for growing alongside with us, because we're passionate about all of us being positioned for a generational legacy.
Moving forward with the Dekker